Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a true Renaissance man. He served in the NFL. He also served in the Trump administration. He's been a lawmaker, and now he heads up a very successful nonprofit. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I've had a lot of NFL alumni on my show, but for many of them, the NFL career was kind of the highlight of their life, and it kind of ends after they get injured or retire from the league. My next guest was just getting started when he retired from the NFL. Scott Turner is in the studio. He is with the Community Engagement and Opportunity Council. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
You impressed me so much. In fact, you were on a show that we host called We Are VIP with Casey Haston, and then you came in and you joined us in the conference room, and we're all kind of sharing our story, and you just blew us all away.
Thanks for having me.
All right, before we get into the backstory, I want you to talk about the CEOC.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me.
Of course.
The Community Engagement and Opportunity Council, CEOC, it was started in 2021 when I returned home from the White House. My wife, Robin, and I were praying, okay, we've been in the administration, NFL, business, ministry. What do we do with the sphere of influence that we have? You know, what can we build that will outlast us? And so I had some good friends that started a ministry in South Dallas called Bridge Builders. And we went to go visit Bridge Builders, and we learned about a young girl down there who was in the 5th grade, but she only read at a 1st grade level. Well, being in the 5th grade and reading at a 1st grade level means that you're illiterate. And in my time at the White House working with Dr. Ben Carson, I traveled all over our country leading the Opportunity Zone effort. And in this effort, I saw a lot of poverty, family poverty, educational poverty, spiritual poverty. And Dr. Ben Carson always reminded me, you know, every child deserves a quality education because the education will lift them out of poverty and set them on the right trajectory. After learning about this young girl, I said, well, time out. She's illiterate. And knowing that if a young girl in the 5th grade is illiterate, growing up in urban poverty, that means several generations living in the same house also may be illiterate. And so we support Bridge Builders. We help them to increase and to redevelop their learning lab. And from that, we scaled it. And so now we have 2 full-time learning labs. That's an after-school program.
Wow.
Where we teach kids K through 5 on to become proficient readers.
Wow. You inspire me, and we only have like 15 minutes for the show, but I could spend an hour and a half with you for sure. He's got to be on Larry Kudlow after this, so he's got a lot going on. He's also a very successful keynote speaker. We found a clip. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
And I came home as a 10-year-old little boy, and I had a little bit of the sermon. I said, what's going on? And my father said, Scotty, everything is going to be okay, but your mama and I, we can't get along, and so we're going to separate. And 2 things simultaneously happened at that moment. One, is I saw my family union fractured and broken and never to be the same. And 2, God dropped a dream and a vision in my heart. And so I saw my father leave our house. And I was standing there with my mother who was crying, reflecting on the last 10 years that they had been married, now having a 10-year-old son and a 2-year-old infant daughter that they just adopted just a year and a half earlier. And my father's leaving our house, and I'm standing there with my mother, and I looked at her, I said, Mama, one day I'm going to play in the NFL. And I'm going to take care of you. God dropped a dream and a vision. I didn't know how to articulate it, but that's what I said to my mama. I'm going to play, and I'm going to take care of you. Now, my mama calls me Pookie, okay? Don't tweet that. No, you can, it's cool. She said, Pookie, you can do anything. Trust God. Set your mind to it. And you can do it. Now, you're talking about a woman who had been abused physically, verbally, emotionally, spoke life into her son as her husband was leaving the home and said, you can do it in spite of what you see. And the Bible said, don't fix your eyes on what you see because it's going to change.
Wow, you got a little preacher in you. Have you been told that? So, one of the stories that you told in my conference room a couple of weeks ago was about how that motivated you and how getting into the NFL was really because of how you showed up in one race at the Combine.
Yeah.
Will you share that
well,
story?
it was, and thank you for showing that clip. And that's really, I was 10 years old, and the Lord gave me a dream and a vision. And my mom, at the lowest point in her life, encouraged me and spoke life into me, which I'll never forget. I'm so grateful for my mother for that, and as well as my father. We have a great relationship to this day, thank God. So yes, I didn't get invited to the NFL Combine. I had a pro day at the University of Illinois. I was a one-year starter at cornerback, which is defensive back. I played offense all my life leading up until my senior year in college. Well, this one particular day, 22 NFL teams came to the University of Illinois, and they said, hey guys, we're going to work you out. They wanted to see a second time the young men that they saw at the Combine the week prior to this pro day. My agent said, can Scott work out, when the teams come? They said, sure, no sweat off our back. We don't know who he is. They didn't even consider me to even be drafted. Well, they came to the school on that day, and I had been running stadium steps at the University of Illinois in frigid temperatures in February in Champaign because I had a dream and I had a vision, and I didn't want anything to stop me. Cold weather, not being invited to the Combine, no one knowing me did not matter because I understood and I knew what I wanted to get accomplished. And so my turn came to run the 40, and they didn't know my name, which is not surprising because I wasn't on their list as a prospect to be drafted. And so they asked me my name. I told them my name was Turner, and they said, okay, well, come on, as if, it was a waste of time for them, but okay, he's here, let him run. Well, ended up, I ran a 4.24 in the 40. I was 10 years old on that clip when I told my mom that I was going to the NFL. When I ran this 40, I was 23 years old. So 13 years of preparation for 4.2 seconds of work, and my life changed.
Wow. Okay, so tell us what happened then. I mean, did you instantly get a contract?
I did. So I got drafted in April 22nd, 1995, 7th round, pick number 226 by the Washington Redskins.
Nice.
And when I got drafted, Norv Turner told me, he said, you've only played 1 year. You don't have a lot of experience. You don't have a lot of film, 12 games or so. They said, but you ran a 4.2 in a 40, so we figured we could work with that.
Amazing. Now, we've got a little highlight reel. We're going to just play a little bit this, and I want you to just narrate a little bit about your NFL career.
So this is against the Arizona Cardinals, and I was a special teams player, and the punter fumbled, and I beat him to the ball. This play is an interception, my first interception for a touchdown against the Denver Broncos.
Man, you're fast.
And my buddy Gus Farrat tried to tackle me, but I was in the wind by then. And that's the gift God gave me, is to run.
That's amazing. Okay, how long did the career last?
So I played 9 years.
9 years, that's a long time in the NFL.
Yes, sir. I was very blessed. 3 years, 3.2 years is the average.
Wow.
So I was really blessed to play for the Redskins, the Broncos, and the Chargers.
Okay, then do you get a calling to run for office?
I did. And so in 2012, when my wife and I came back home to Dallas, I was encouraged to run for the Texas House of Representatives, which was a new seat in Texas, so Northeast Collin County and all of Rockwall County.
Wow.
Kind of a gerrymandered, seat. Rockwall and Collin County, two totally different counties.
Sure.
And so that's the seat I ran for, and I won and served 2 terms in the House of Representatives in Texas, representing the people of District 33, House District 33.
Amazing. And we've got a clip because then you got invited to serve in the Trump administration, but we're going to roll this clip and then we'll come back and talk about it. Okay. Let's go ahead and roll it.
All right, President Trump hailing results of opportunity zones he created in his 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Thousands and thousands of zones in inner cities and poor neighborhoods, tremendous investments going in, tremendous jobs are happening, revitalization's happening, It's been incredible for the African American community.
And to help support the initiative, the White House drafting former NFL player Scott Turner as executive director of the Opportunity and Revitalization Council.
Former defensive back for the Washington Redskins, San Diego Chargers, and Denver Broncos, Scott Turner joins us now. Scott, thanks for joining us. We're going to get to football in a bit because we can't resist. But let's start first with Opportunity Zones. Explain to our viewers what they are and the impact they're having.
So as you guys heard the president, Opportunity Zones were created as a result of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. And from a high-level overview, Opportunity Zones are those distressed communities inside of our country that have a high poverty rate, a low median income, and some areas that have a high crime rate, lack of quality education. And, you know, the question was asked, what's being done in these underserved communities to help those people inside of the communities to fulfill their God-given potential, and also to unleash private capital and partner with public investment to bring about revitalization. And so we've been on a tour around the country. I was appointed about 21 weeks ago by the president, and we have had the opportunity to visit 43 cities in those last 20 or 21 weeks. We're seeing amazing results, and also people coming together to work in unity from elected officials, community leaders, faith leaders, education and developers to come together and talk about the pain in the community, talk about the history, but also to talk about the promise and, you know, what can be done to lift the people in the community together. It's really been amazing. I'm very encouraged by it.
All right. Well, you know, while we have you, Scott, I apologize. I have to do this because I'm from Washington. I'm a diehard Redskins fan. You once played there. We're having a little bit of trouble. Is there any chance you could go back and play? Because we need some help. We're 0-4 facing tomorrow the Super Bowl champion Patriots.
You know, I thought about it the other night when I was watching the game. I was in D.C. and I was sitting there in my apartment, and I said, you know, I can go back, you know, and give them at least, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. Man, I'm pulling for them. I'm always pulling for them.
Fox News alert. We're going to draft you and put you back out on that field. They've got problems. But also you played for the Broncos, and they're not doing so well as well.
I did. They're not. And, you know, when you play for teams, man, your heart goes out to them. You watch them. I support them. I support all the players. You know, having worked with the NFL and worked with the players. But when you play for certain teams, you know, your heart goes out, in particular when they're not doing well. But they'll pull it out. You know, the coaches and the staff, the players, they got to get together. You know, NFL is hard. It's hard to win in the NFL. And I don't think people realize that on a week-to-week basis.
Scott, I'm going to go watch my Vikings beat the Giants tomorrow at Giants Stadium. Who is your any surprise? No. It's going to happen. Any surprises for you this season so far?
Yeah, you know, I thought that the Broncos would be doing better, but they're not. You know, I don't like Green Bay, you know, historically, but they're kind of, you know, they've caught my eye. You know, they're doing a great job. But, you know, we'll see. New England is New England, you know, and you have to give it to those guys, the coaches and the players. You know, they find a way to win. I think it's their process. You know, their process, you know, helps them to be victorious.
A culture.
I doubt they'll find a way tomorrow. We're all going to be shocked when the Redskins beat the Patriots. Scott Turner, thanks for being here.
And thanks for your work on the Opportunity Zones. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, hey, thank you, guys.
Well done.
And, of course, that was filmed a few years ago. He's still in great shape. I mean, the Cowboys need you. You know that.
I'm ready. I told Jerry, whatever you're ready, just call me. I'm good.
All right. Serving with the Trump administration and getting to see the communities that really need help, tell us what that was like.
You know, it was life-changing. I was appointed by President Trump on April the 4th, 2019, to lead the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council. This was a coordinating council that was created as a result of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And my job was to lead every secretary and their agencies, staff from their agencies into opportunity zones, of which there's 8,764. And to go around the country and build public-private partnerships and really be an ambassador and a representative of the president and our country in these neighborhoods to bring people together, to recognize why there's poverty, why there's deterioration. And so we had community leaders, faith leaders, education leaders, builders, elected officials at the table at one time. Now, Jeff, historically, when you think about revitalization and you think about development, it's the elected officials, the developer, and maybe the money person. But according to the executive order that President Trump sent out, the cities that I went to, of which I went to close to 80 cities, in our country, 250 convenings. And every time I went there, all 5 stakeholder groups were at the table. So the community leader had the same seat at the table as the mayor. Because sometimes the community people would have the heartbeat. The mayor had the legislative power, the money people, and the visionaries had the development power. So you bring all of those together.
Wow, powerful.
And so my job was to lead that effort.
Okay, and I'm sure the seeds were planted for CEOC from your journey around the country. Let's pull up the website. It's a beautiful website, and as we scroll down the website,
That's my wife.
Oh, is that your wife?
Yeah.
You married up. So, what's your favorite memory of working with this wonderful organization so far?
You know, I would say the first memory is starting it, because we started it from scratch. You know, with my wife and I were like-minded people, our board of directors who are all founding members. We all recognized the problem. I definitely recognized it, having traveled around the country. And so starting from a concept and an idea and praying and to see God bring it to fruition is very powerful. And 2, to see kids that come inside of our learning centers who are illiterate, literally illiterate, not even knowing how to spell their names. We had one set of twins that came into our lab and they spelled their names with letters and numbers. They're in kindergarten. And to see that, and then to see them several weeks later learn how to read and write a full sentence. And seeing that happen over and over with several children brings me a lot of joy.
Yes.
Because when you can read, you have confidence. When you don't read, you get preyed upon, and particularly in poverty-stricken situations. But when a child has the ability to read, they have the ability to do anything. But if they can't read, they have very limited ability.
Wow.
And so to see that transformation in our children is a great blessing.
And I know you got to get out of here to be on the Larry Kudlow show, so I don't want to. I want to call from Kudlow saying, "Crilley, you made Scott late." Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
First, I would like to say thank you for giving people such as myself and others a platform to reach other people.
Thank you.
Because I know your heart in that is that you bring exposure. Not just to individuals, but to groups of people, and also to communicate issues that impact our generation.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
That means a lot.
Thank you for making the sacrifice. The second thing I would say is that, you know, man, a lot of people talk, Jeff, but a very few people do. And I would hope that when the Lord takes me home, that people said there was a man who received the call and didn't just talk about it, but did what he was called to do. And so I encourage others to do the same.
Wow, so powerful. I could listen to you all day long. We're going to end with his website, which is ceoc.org. The great Scott Turner. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.